Let's start with a question, shall we? What do you think bravery is? I would like you all to think about it for a moment. What does bravery mean to you? Now, if you were like most people, you would have probably imagined something dramatic. A fearless leap, a bold declaration, someone who never hesitates, never doubts, never looks back. We've all been taught that courage is loud and that it shows up in big moments and obvious wins. But most of the moments that shape us don't feel heroic at all. They feel uncomfortable, uncertain, quiet. They appear when confidence disappears and clarity is gone. And that is when true bravery is needed. The bravery needed for the brave new now we find ourselves in. Because bravery isn't just about action, it's also about resilience. And not the version of resilience we've been sold. We tend to treat resilience like brute persistence, pushing through at all costs, refusing to quit, doing the same thing over and over and over again, and calling it strength. That kind of persistence looks admirable, it sounds noble, but it often keeps people stuck. Real resilience, the one that keeps you moving forward, is the ability to adapt without losing sight of the goal. It's knowing when to pause, reassess, and change directions. And that is the difference between growth and stagnation. I didn't learn this from theory. I learned this the hard way. 3 years ago, I was in grade 6. I wanted to be on a stage like this and give out a TED Talk. So I applied, and I failed. The rejection stung, but it also forced a choice. I could react the way most people do, more effort, more grinding, or I could ask myself, where did I go wrong? Luckily, I chose option number 2. Over the following year, I attended many TED Talks, not for inspiration, but for patterns. How speakers structure their ideas, how they use body language. In grade 7, I tried again. This time, I was immensely close, but I still failed. That closeness mattered, though. It showed that something had changed. I had evolved. So I continued evolving. Not more effort, better effort. And that evolution is why I am standing in front of you all giving this TED Talk today. That experience changed how I see failure. It stopped being a verdict and started being an arrow pointing in the right direction. And when you see failure this way, it starts to pop up in everyday life. A kid who wants to become better at a sport, but practices bad form, turning mistakes into habit. A person who wants to get better at relationships, but only speaks without learning to listen. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Effort alone does not guarantee progress. Adaptation does. Persistence keeps you moving. Adaptation keeps you moving in the right direction. What's interesting is that this type of resilience isn't anything new. It's ancient. If you go back to a caveman era, humans weren't the biggest species. We weren't the strongest. We definitely were not the fastest. If survival depended on brute persistence, we would not be here. What we had was adaptability. When climates changed, we migrated. When food sources disappeared, we hunted in new ways. Adaptation is the reason our species rose to the top. And in modern times, challenges such as polarized politics and threats of AI taking over jobs have left many uncertain young minds like myself with an uncertain future. But within that chaos is an opportunity to be bold and adapt to this brave new now. In modern life, we've also started to lose this skill. Technology has made life smoother, faster, more predictable. Answers are instant, paths are optimized. And while that is incredible, it's also trained us to expect progress without a change. And over time, adaptability becomes an optional skill. And optional skills tend to fade. Reclaiming adaptive resilience changes everything. It turns missed goals into prototypes instead of dead ends. It turns feedback into fuel instead of criticism. You stop asking, why isn't this working? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift is the difference between people who stall and people who scale. In the end, bravery isn't just about being fearless. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. The strongest people aren't rigid, they're adjustable. That is true bravery. Not brute persistence, but the courage to change. Thank you.